Hello, everyone. We'll give you a
Hi.
moment to connect to sound here. Hello, and welcome to the Brooklyn Rails 1267th New Social Environment. I'm Joshua, a programs associate here at the Rail, and I have the pleasure and privilege of being your MC today for a conversation featuring Lyndsy Welgos and Stacy Skolnik. And now I'll introduce today's guest and host. Lyndsy Welgos is an artist, photographer, and executive director of Topical Cream, a New York-based feminist arts organization founded in 2013. Dedicated to supporting women and gender nonconforming contemporary artists, Topical Cream works at the intersection of publishing, programming, and education. Under Welgos's leadership, the organization has become a leading force in redefining cultural value through feminist and intersectional critique. In November 2025, Topical Cream will debut its first full-color print edition, curated by Lumi Tan, with launches at Artist Space in New York, as well as Art Basel Miami. Stacy Skolnik is the author of the novel The Ginny Suite and the poetry collection Mrs. Blue Eyes 123.com. In her writing, humiliation, self-disgust, domination, attraction, vulnerability, and desire array themselves into commentary on the ballooning economy of attention and representation at the construction of personae, and the construction of personae, excuse me. She's a co-founder and co-director of Montez Press Radio, the Lower East Side-based broadcast and performance platform. And with that, I'll turn it over to Stacy.
Hi. Thank-
Hi. Hey, Stacy.
Hey, thanks for having me. Thanks to the Brooklyn Rail for hosting, and thanks to everyone who's here listening. And of course, thanks, Lyndsy, for joining me for this conversation. I guess maybe just to begin, obviously we just had that lovely introduction, but maybe for the uninitiated, would you be able to tell us
Oh,
briefly what Topical
yeah.
Cream does and what your primary programs and focuses are?
Yeah. So we're an arts organization, and I think we really pride ourselves on education overall. That's sort of like the big overarching. Oh, sorry, let me turn this off. Our big overarching mission is to support the work of women and gender nonconforming contemporary artists. And we do that through publishing, public programming, and our youth programs. So that would be for publishing. We run a program called it's an editor in residence program where we hand the platform over to a curator or artist, and they take it over for the year and publish pieces that they feel are that are meaningful to them. And this year we'll be creating our first ever full color print edition, launching at Artist Space on November 19th and Art Basel in Miami as well. And we're super, super fortunate because this year our editor in residence is Lumi Tan. And so this issue is her issue. So she has curated a really fantastic group of writers and artists and thinkers that we're going to be putting into a printed tome, and we're deep in the middle of that right now. So yeah, super super exciting. As far as education goes, we have two main programs. The first and the biggest one is the New York Girls Writing Circle, which is a full summer program from Monday through Friday. It starts usually like the first or second week in July. And we have about anywhere from 7 to 11 girls or gender nonconforming youth come in Monday through Friday. We feed them, we give them technology, we take them to museums, artists come in, they talk to them, they do workshops with them. And then at the end of the year, we make these great little zines of their writing that they take home. And it's really, really a special, super in-depth program. I'm so proud of it. Then we also have a mentorship program that runs throughout the year where we work with another organization called Exalt. And that is a little bit more writing focused, where we teach them a little bit about like the craft of art writing and poetry. And We have another program called the Youth Work. Sorry, I think it's the Youth Workshop Series, where we have an artist come in to a large group and teach them sort of like about their practice. And the first one we did with that was Juliana Huxtable came to Artist Space, and she did this incredible lecture on the history of button making. And everybody had the opportunity to then make buttons and take them home. And we just did one with another artist that was all about like beading. So those are our three main education programs. I don't know if I'm missing something. I think that's pretty much it. I think that's enough.
I have questions about
Yeah.
all of the strands, but maybe to begin, would you mind? Yeah, so as you mentioned, that Topical Cream started initially as an online publication in 2013,
Yeah.
and you've since expanded into public programming and imminently print publication. What prompted that move beyond digital publishing? And I'm curious what you or what you at Topical Cream, the team at Topical Cream feels you can accomplish through in-person programming and physical editions that the website alone maybe couldn't.
Yeah. I mean, again, I think it kind of goes back to education, right? So with education, but then also our 2024 editor was Ebony Haynes. And for her, we always do a big live event at the end of the year to celebrate our editors. And last year we did like a small run of Ebony's year, and it was just a huge hit. People were DMing me about it, really excited about it. And it was just, we already do all this work. All of our features are very long form. They take a long time to publish. And so we're already putting in all the work. So why not have a memento that people can take home and hold. And this way also we can get it into libraries and places that, it's harder to reach people through digital spaces. So I think that was really the main reason for that. And also I think just because of the New York World Writing Circle, we started printing these like little zines. It was just like, taking it like one step further.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's exciting.
Yeah, there's something about
Yeah,
tactile
we can participate now
object.
in fairs, and it's just like it gives us the opportunity to reach people in a way that really can't be done digitally, just to be able to
Right.
hold a book and
Yeah.
all the work that these editors are putting in. It really deserves to be made into a print publication.
Yeah, I'm curious about these editors. You've had editors in residence. You mentioned Ebony Haynes, who is a curator at David Zwirner. Ruba Katrib is a past editor in residence, and she's over at Moment PS1. I'm curious
Yeah.
what these curators slash editors are able to do at Topical Cream that they might not be able to do at more traditional platforms, where they perhaps, even work more
Yeah.
on the day to day. And I'm curious what experimental journalism looks like in practice at Topical Cream.
Well, I will say that during Ebony's talk last year, this topic came up, and it was really interesting because when people write for us, a lot of times they're writing a lot more personal, from a more like personal perspective than maybe they would for Art Forum or other places. It's more peer to peer. It's a little bit more intimate. And maybe it was Zoe Hopkins, or I can't remember which one of the writers was saying that, like there's things that you write for New York Times or whatever, but Topical Cream is like a very personal, very a fluid platform. And I think that's really just to have that peer-to-peer uh, opportunity. I mean, we don't We don't, I mean, things definitely take time here. You know, some features can take up to 6 months to finish. Um, as far as like format goes, we just ask that people kind of like stick to our mandate, which is supporting women in GNC contemporary artists. And really, besides that, like the editors, it's a residency. Like they have the freedom to choose who they want, and they have the freedom to write about the artists that they find impactful. So it's a pretty fluid space.
Have you found that, well, you had mentioned in an article that I read, I think it was
Uh-oh.
in Vogue, maybe, but you said
Uh-oh.
that feminism in 2013, when you founded Topical Cream, was dismissed as uncool in downtown art circles.
Yeah. It
Do
was
you
always
think,
this weird, it was always this, I just got so tired of it always being this weird trick question. It was just insanity to me. I was like, this is just insane. I couldn't take it.
do you feel that that discourse has shifted in the last decade, and has
Well,
that
I hope
been?
that we have played some role in making an impact in that area. I hope so.
Yeah, I mean, I think that
People
it's
used to
something.
ask me why, you know, like when we first started, like, oh, why would you do that? Like, why would you make an art publication or whatever just about, you know, women artists? Like, why would you do that? And nobody asks me that now.
Yeah,
Nobody asks me
it seems
that. They
like
know why.
I mean, I guess it's obviously, a a good thing, but it probably is a more crowded landscape in terms of like feminist organizations and or organizations putting feminist philosophies at the forefront. I'm wondering how, or do you feel
Well,
like Topical
our
Cream?
focus is on artists, right? So that's really like who we are platforming and who we care. I mean, we care about everybody, but like we are specifically dedicated to artists and art writers in that way.
Yeah, do you think, or do you want to tell folks a little bit about the name Topical Cream and how it relates to
What
how
a
it
dumb
relates?
name it is. Yeah, I mean, you know, it's a silly pun. It's a silly dumb name that but I do think that, you know, there's um something about the mission that appealed to me about the name was like we wanted to be like a solve to all this kind of like this causticness around the idea of um being able to print um, with a feminist perspective, right? There's the word hot topic, right? Hot topic, like you have this on the View, you have this on all kinds of different news outlets. Hot topic, like what's the hot topic? And then you have the word cream, which is like a solve to this kind of um, you know, I guess you could say almost I don't know if you'd say like accelerationist, like attention economy um, vibes, I guess. So yeah, I don't know why I came up with that, but that's I guess that's why it's a silly name.
Yeah,
And you
I
know,
mean, I
but
think
I
it
will say
works.
yeah, I guess it works. And also just thinking about like beauty standards, self-care, all these kind of things that we wanted to you know fold into this idea of like what we wanted to talk about, what we wanted to create, like what was Topical Cream going to be, what were we going to include. Um, we wanted to. It just seemed to work. It's
Yeah, I noticed.
very punny.
I noticed that self-care, you had mentioned self-care and self-preservation is also something that I've seen come up in some of your programming, like the antibodies show that was at MoMA PS1. I was curious if Topical Cream is still operating under that framework of self-care and protecting the self
Absolutely.
survival. Do you feel like in this moment or in the last decade that there's also been a shift toward more collective action or something else
Well,
entirely?
I mean, look, I mean, I think in our actions, right? Not only is it self care, but it's care for our community. and for, the people that we serve. Like, we are a public charity. We're a public platform. We're here to serve others. Like, that's our mission, right? We platform these incredible writers, hand the vision over to them, let them write and say and do what they want to. And, we do our best to make sure that their vision is is fulfilled. Sorry, I'm a little sick. Make sure that their vision is fulfilled. And in the same way, like for the girls that we work with, during the summer, like we make sure that they know that like art and New York City specifically is a place for them. And we want them to understand that like all these museums, all these artists, like they belong to them. This is your city. These are your artists. Like you are part of this network. Like care is definitely at the like very core of our values and like who we are and what we want to do.
Yeah, you said that you're that in those youth workshops that artists are that these girls and GNC youth in these programs are brought directly to artist studios and put in contact with artists and brought to various organizations. Can you
Yeah.
tell us a little bit about what happens in those sessions and what you think artists might be able to offer young people that they might not have access to elsewhere?
Yeah, well, I will say that a lot of times, like when the kids kind of start their summer, most of them, or at least in the last 2 years, none of them had ever been to a museum here in New York. They never been to the Met. They feel like art is not for them, and they're a little bit resistant to it, not really sure, what that means. And so we make an effort to show them that no, this is your city, these are your museums, these are your artists, right? The city belongs to you. We're all New Yorkers. These artists are here to be a part of the city landscape that we're this ecosystem that we're all a part of, and like their creativity, their voice matters. And they kind of, they set an example. They show them, how they make art, what their process is, how they think about it. And, we try to find artists that will understand kind of like what we're trying to do. So we definitely think really carefully about, who we're bringing them to and who we allow to, interact with us like during this process. And it's been really, really incredible. A few of the artists that have donated their time are Lena Hinkey. Let's see, who else? Ginny Stanjinsky, who's an amazing scenic artist. A.M. Schmidt, um, Maria Di Victoria came in and did an amazing talk. Raphael Rosendahl actually met us at MoMA, and like walked us through his artwork, which is right now like in the center in the lobby, and it was really cool because he's a more like technology based artist there. But there he is, and the age group is like, I think it's like 14 to 17, and so they were super interested in using the internet and JPEGs as art. And he did such a great job kind of showing them like the possibility of what art could be. And it was just really fantastic. What a
I'm
great
curious
what a
how,
great intro.
um, yeah, I'm curious how the girls' writing circle comes together and who gets involved and how they get involved, and also for the artists who and institutions that you are introducing them to, what are some of the guiding decisions for that programming? And also like your
Hmm.
larger collaborations, I guess, in general, because it seems like you have partnered with many different people and organizations from like various realms of the art world and just like the broader city. So I'm curious how those decisions are made, but also on a practical level, how these girls find themselves involved at Topical Cream.
You want to know how the sausage is made. Okay, well, it's a
Yeah.
long story, and we only have an hour.
Mhm.
But again, like with everything, it starts small, and and then it just grows and grows and grows. So I guess the very beginning of this was I have a friend who's on the board of Recess, right? And he called me and he said, we have these interns, and they were kind of sending them around the city or whatever. And like, he wanted to find an organization that he knew would take good care of them and make sure that they had a good experience. And so he called me and he said, please, like, do you have the time to take on one of these interns and like really spend time with them and show them, what we can do. And I said, okay, well, I thought about it and I said, you know what? I said, it really shouldn't be an internship, it should be a mentorship. So I want to make sure that I have time set aside for them so that we can show them even what the art world is, like, what is happening, like what's going on, like you're in the center of New York City, like use the city in and of itself as inspiration. And so it's really started from that ask of us to get involved. And we did the mentorship program for a year. Sorry, is my sound going out? I don't know.
No, you're good.
Can you hear me? Okay.
Yeah.
And then as we started to really understand the need, I realized as a parent myself, during the summer, these kids really don't have systemic support, right? They don't have school. They don't have, a lot of things, interesting things to do. If your parents are working all the time and maybe you could really use something, a good positive way to spend your summer, like why not shift the mentorship to be a little bit more of an intensive, I mean, it's basically a summer camp. It's Monday through Friday, and we also found that way that we weren't competing with their schedules, because with the mentorship, it starts after 4. And so in this way, with the New York Girls Writing Circle, we're able to have them all day and really make a much deeper impact. So just, being a parent myself and getting to know what everybody needed, we shifted our programming to fit those needs.
And how does one get involved? Is there
I see. Yes.
is there a certain demographic that you're appealing
Yes.
to? Or?
So we have 3 main partners with that program. The New York City Department of Youth and, oh my gosh, sorry, I'm getting like 1,000 texts. Sorry, I turned my phone off, but of course it still comes up. I'm sorry.
All good. Demographics.
Yes, sorry, let me just. Yes, so we have three main partners for this for this program. The New York City Department of Youth and Community Development, the Global Kids, and then Exalt Youth. So Exalt Youth works with exclusively poor impacted youth. They're really fantastic. And Global Kids works with, I think they're based in Queens, and they're a little bit more like introducing kids to like culture, like they're working with kids in high school, like really exclusively. Where Global Kids works with ages up to I think like 21, and so we work with both of them to find out who in these programs is interested in art and who would like to join us. So they choose the students. So it's not us. So they choose whoever's interested and maybe has that, just, would like an opportunity to learn more about it.
Right. You mentioned that you send one of your children to an outdoor or like alternative school camp. So it seems like you're
Mm-hmm.
thinking a lot about education, both personally and through Topical Cream's youth workshops and mentorship programs. What do you think organizations like Topical Cream can offer that traditional institutions might not be able to?
I think art organizations, all of us, right? The work that we do is so critical. It really is. And I think that we have a duty to make an impact in a significant way, in a very significant way. And so I think that, you know, especially orgs that are interested in any kind of social justice, or are interested, not all our orgs are necessarily interested in that. A lot of them are not, but the ones who are, I think, the need is there. The need is there if you're open to it.
Have there been any mentees whose trajectories or writing or experiences or path after Topical Cream has stuck with you?
Well, I was gonna read, I think Diana is one of them. She was with us in 2024. And our goal is, let me be really clear, it's not to make them art writers. Our goal is not to necessarily make them poets or art writers, or even artists, if that's like not what they're interested in. Our goal is to help them find their voice and self-expression, and understand uh, the city itself as an art form, right? And so Diana is now, she's going to med school, which is super exciting. And she wrote this is our 2024 zine publication. This is our 2025. They're so amazing. And there's so
Can
much
people get
great.
those on the website or?
No, they're not. Well, they're not exactly on the website. Maybe we should put them on. Sometimes I don't know. I like to keep things a little private in a certain
Yeah,
way too. Like,
yeah.
I don't, I don't, I don't, I'm not always necessarily super comfortable with, like, posting tons of photos of the kids, or like, it's just, I don't know. I don't know if I was 14, if I would really want my poetry all over the internet
Yeah,
or
absolutely.
whatever.
I think about 14-year-old me really regrets sending some poems out that last forever on the internet. So good call.
Yeah. If people are really interested in our program and they want to learn more, I can send them one for sure. But I just don't know about putting tons of that stuff online.
Yeah, maybe
I'm
it's
not,
more
I
just
don't
about
know about.
maybe it's more about the experience for them of just making this scene than it is about circulating it as a public
Yeah,
object or something.
yeah. I mean, it's just about them really understanding that, again, this city belongs to them. These artists are their artists. Like, um, it's about that. It's like all it is about. But I was going to read, and the writing is really great. I mean, they write really fantastic essays and poems. And um, yeah, I guess I'll just read a line or two of Diana's if I could.
Yeah, read as much as you want.
Now I've lost it. Ooh, it's in the other book. They make all kinds of art also. It's not just writing, but I did also want to mention that towards the end of the program, we spend a day or two encouraging them, like if they do want to go to college, if they do want to apply to things, like we show them how to do that. We talk to them about, if they need a letter of recommendation, like who are you going to reach out to, like how to do that. So we teach them at the end a lot of practical skills after they've had this, intensive workshop for the last like 4 weeks, looking at writing and writing themselves and getting feedback from our editors. Like, for example, Lumi Tan came in and, gave some feedback. Okay, I'm just going to read like a line or two. Okay. A whisper caught in twilight's hush, a melody lost, a broken blush. Once a flame, now embers cold, a story written, yet untold. Heartstrings frayed, a mournful tune, beneath a sky of fading moon. Shadows deep where sorrows reside, memories linger like a tide. A vacant chair, an empty space where laughter danced, now lost in chase.
Beautiful. And you said that she's now going on to medical school?
She was also, yeah, she's in medical school now. She's a really fantastic person, and we're really proud of her. She emailed us like, I guess like at the beginning. We always check in with people too. So once they leave, they're not just like, they don't just disappear. We follow up with them long term. And so, yeah, she emailed us right before this cohort started, and was saying how, what an amazing summer she had, and like how grateful she was. And she still has her LinkedIn that we made for her and like added everybody on LinkedIn. And then another person actually started an internship at a gallery this year. So it's been really great. We keep an eye on them forever.
Yeah, that's amazing. Maybe you can talk us through what just like a day in the life is like at Topical Cream. I'm curious how many people are on staff. Do you have volunteers? It seems like the mentees kind of are, I noticed that they sometimes refer to themselves as interns, but it seems like that's part of the professional development program,
Yeah.
perhaps. But I'm curious if you have interns, freelancers, just like what is the composite of Topical Cream?
Well, I should probably start off by saying thank you, right, to our board and everyone here. I actually wanted to say that at the top, and I didn't get to it. But I do want to thank, if I could just take a minute, Ara Angigrolian, Gia Kwan, Julia Trotta, Marcella Zimmerman, Rocky Ford, Rupa Katrib, Seth Stolben, Lucero, Camille Rowe, and Ebony Haynes, who compose our really fantastic board. Everybody, I mean, our board is super supportive and smart, and we meet like seasonally, but we're always in touch, kind of like figuring out how to make things better. I should also thank our deputy editor, Elizabeth Wyatt, Elizabeth Gramley, who's one of our teachers, Rosie Motley, who has taught the mentorship program, and the New York Girls Writing Circle also, Tiffany Lambert, who helps us with our grants. So we have, I guess, a mix of board members and teachers, and, you know,
And are you guys
I guess like no real volunteers. Nobody really volunteers in that way. But yeah, I mean, I guess the board is a volunteer. Some people on the board volunteer their time, but I don't know that we really have.
are you meeting in
We
an
could have
office?
volunteers. If anybody wants to volunteer, please reach out to me. By all means, yeah, please. If anybody wants to help out, we always need help. We're always understaffed. We're always stressed. If
Yeah, that
that's
was
what you're
another,
asking.
I'm curious, I'm curious if people do want to get involved, if you offer grants, if there's open calls, are you ever open for submissions, things like that?
So because the editor in residence runs the editorial platform, we don't even really have control of that too much. We have an agreement with them that we can publish ourselves like 2 or 3 things a year, but otherwise the editor in residence has total control, which is, amazing.
Yeah. Um, So essentially, if people want to get involved as a volunteer, they can send an email through the email that's on your website.
Yes,
And if students wanted to get involved, they should reach out to one of those organizations that you mentioned earlier who.
yes, yes,
Cool.
absolutely. We need
Um,
all the help we can get. And if anybody wants to donate, please make a donation. We're always
cool.
taking donations.
Well, maybe that'll lead me into just like my last question before we open it
Yeah.
up to the audience. This is a project that a nonprofit that's been going for over a decade. As someone who runs a, nonprofit also, I understand how challenging that can be, but I was wondering if
Hmm.
you could tell us how you actually sustain this project through
You want to know how we make money?
funding, labor, decision making, and just like what's the hardest part of keeping it going, or what is it that keeps it going? Is it, I know that a lot of the time it's a labor of love, but
Well, we have really fantastic donors. Sarah Arison, Jacques-Louise Vidal. We have grants from a lot of Seth Stolben, a lot of amazing foundations, um, who also, not just give, money, but give guidance, you know, give advice, give their time, give their care. I mean, all that is so valuable. We're so grateful to everybody that does sustain us, right? Um, and I think also, you know, having lost like NEA funding and, the way that all that has kind of changed in the last few years um, has been very stressful, but we do run a super lean ship, and we're hoping that this also won't last forever. And I don't think it will. I don't think it will last forever. But yeah, we have state funding, not federal funding right now, but city funding. We have
on the
all
day to
the
day in terms of decision making and labor, are you guys meeting in an office or in a studio, or how
Well,
does
we're
that?
here in our office. This is our first office. That's just ours.
Congrats.
And so it's been a big 6 months. We got our first office, and now we're doing our first print publication, which is kind of a lot all at once. Um, but yeah, it's been really great to meet in person. We can also hold small events here. So we had a talk, with one of our writers and Megumi Arai, Hannah Martin and Megumi Arai. Sorry, I didn't sleep all last night. I was so nervous because I'm such a terrible public speaker. I couldn't sleep, which is ridiculous. But I don't know. There's something
You can
wrong with
pretend
me.
everyone is naked, even though their
It doesn't
screens are
matter.
black.
It doesn't matter at all. I can't even see. Like, I'm just shy. I'm just like, I think I'm the kind of person that's like, I'm loud and obnoxious in person, but the second that you like put me on the stage, I'm getting really shy. I mean, I'm a beast goth trivia player,
Yes, I learned
like
that the
don't
other
come
night.
for me at goth trivia. I will destroy you. But, if you put me on stage, I get very shy.
Well, you're doing a great
Anyway,
job. And we're almost and we're
anyway,
almost done, I promise.
what was the question? I don't
You were telling us
remember.
about your new space and the big 6 months that you're having.
Um, Please come to our event November 19th. We're super excited to be supporting Lumi in her year. She's going to be talking about, I think almost all the writers and some of the artists that will be involved in this issue are all going to be there be a huge panel, and they're talking about performance and performance art now and time and all the things that have been beautifully woven into her issue.
And
It's
will
going to be
people be
really
able to
great.
buy a copy if they come to the event or?
Yeah, well, okay, I think so. I mean, if we can get our shit together and get it published in time, then yes. If they can't, If we can't, which I hope we will, you can pre-order there. But, our goal is to have it there.
Cool.
That's our goal, but we'll see.
I'm excited to get a copy.
It's our first time doing this, so we're not sure what we're going to fuck up yet. We will fuck something up. What that will be yet, I just don't know. Talk to me
Well,
November
come to the
19th and
event. Come to the event
come
to
to
find
the
out.
event and see if it's there. Should be there.
Well, thank you for taking the time to tell us more about the incredible work that Topical Cream does. And
I hope
yeah, I'm
that
sure
all
that
made
the
sense.
audience has some questions if we want to pass it over to them. Unless, yeah, if that's okay with you, Lyndsy.
Yeah.
Alrighty, thank you both so much for that conversation. Um, we will transition now to our audience Q&A. If anyone in the audience has another question, feel free to submit it at the link in the chat. Our first question today is going to come from Chloe. Um,
Thank you so much, Lyndsy and Stacy, for this conversation. It's been such a pleasure to listen to. Lyndsy, we need to play trivia at some
Uh-oh.
point. Um, I am really curious about when you were establishing what you wanted to do with the publication for Topical Cream, what models you were inspired by and what models you were kind of trying to move out of. I really, especially considering, like, I really love the way you work with a curator on each issue, and there's this sort of central person bringing together a group of people. And I'm curious how you came to that idea and how that developed.
Yes. So we came to that idea because we really felt that there was nothing. Well, there is a magazine curated by. I don't know if you guys are familiar with that, which is one of my favorite publications. And there's other magazines that do similar things, but not all in the way that we do it. So you have Art Form that's like, all, art publishing. You have like Gentlewoman that it's all about like lifestyle. That's like very, um, you know, luxury brand and like, focused on that. And so, I just wanted to kind of put maybe those three things together, to make a platform that didn't exist. And, I think it's, to have like a platform that is interested in women and GNC artists. To me, it just lets the light in a little bit more. And that's what we are really hoping to do. And all of our editors and they've all just brought such cool features and poets and writers that like maybe we're outside of our network that we get to learn about, in a way that we wouldn't have known about before. So it really is just about giving somebody else the opportunity um, to make their vision come, make their vision happen. I don't know. Sorry.
No, that was perfect. Thank you so much. It was really nice to hear about it. Thanks.
Thanks.
Thank you, Chloe, for that question, and thank you, Lindsay, for the answer. Our next question comes from the audience, and this audience member is curious about the performance series that you do or the performance programming that you do at Topical Cream. Can you speak a little bit more about that in
Yeah.
relationship to the other,
To the public programming.
yeah.
Yeah, so usually the public, like a larger public event like that, usually we will get invited. So like Artist Space invited us to curate something, I guess in like whenever that was. And we put a whole thing together. And usually, we're a very small org. Like usually we are the ones being invited to bring our vision to a larger organization. So anybody has any invites, please send them over. Any large organizations, like, only have a small space. So yeah, usually we get an invite and then we put on a show, as they say.
Yeah, I was personally curious about the image in the slides at ICP um
Yes.
in 2022, that performance. Can you talk a little bit more about how that came together?
Yes, they reached out to us to do like a full museum takeover. And then we invited our colleagues and friends to come and take over and, thank God for an abortion, did like an on the spot live show and took over the like the downstairs area. I remember Maggie Lee, the painter, did a DJ set. We had drinks, it was just like it was usually we do like a usually if we're asked, it's like a full takeover. It's usually not like one thing, it's usually pretty over the top where we're able to invite, like at least like five artists and say do whatever you want.
Thank you so much. That's so amazing to hear.
I don't know if that explained anything. I'm not sure, but yeah,
Totally. Our
that stuff's
last
really fun. I love to do that.
Well, the pictures look amazing. It looks like it was a lot of fun.
We don't fuck around at all. We don't fuck around. If we do it, we do it big.
Our last question this afternoon is from the audience member, an anonymous audience member who asks,
Okay.
where do you see topical cream in the next 5 to 10 years?
Oh my God, that's such a meme right now. I don't know if you guys have seen, there's all these like amazing memes with this question. And so that was like the first thing that came to mind was a lady at a grocery checkout with like a falcon on her shoulder that she's taken shopping with her. And I think that would be the best metaphor for me to describe where I see us in 5 years.
That's an amazing answer.
And uh, actually, I overlooked one question from the audience. Someone is asking, I know Stacy, you mentioned this, or you asked this a little bit, but how can someone submit to topical cream if they're interested?
Yeah, I mean, the thing is that if you submit it to us, then we submit it to the editor in residence. They're the boss. So, we usually have an agreement with them that we can publish about like three things a year, roughly. But it is the editor in residence runs the publishing platform for that year. So it's up to them. I know it's confusing. I totally agree. And we get tons of submissions all the time. And it's just a balance between uh, taking these submissions and then letting the editor in residence like have full control's not the word, I'm sorry, full Stacy, what's
Agency?
the agency? There you go. Sorry. I'm so tired to have full agency, because a lot of times the editor in residence will think about it and they'll say, okay, this year I'm thinking about like is thinking a lot about time and performance. Ebony was thinking a lot about like censorship and agency. So, each editor in residence, I think they think about Topical Cream like an artwork in and of itself that they're trying to produce, right? Like the final tome is sort of like a curated artwork or book. And so it's yeah, I don't know. I think we need to maybe we can add like a side blog or something that we don't have, but right now there's really not a great way to submit anything. And I really do apologize for that.
Well, it also seems though, if I may chime in, it seems like the um that topical cream is very community oriented. And I think for anyone who wants to be involved at something that perhaps is like not necessarily open to submissions, but that is community based, is I would recommend getting involved, coming to all of the events,
Yeah,
meeting
just
the
come to
people,
the events. Yeah.
and then seeing if you can weasel your way into the sphere of the organization of
Well,
your
it's
choosing.
always changing. So it's like
Yeah.
always a new editor too. So I don't even know how you'd have to really work on somebody and then work on the next person. It's kind of tough. But yeah. Yeah, I mean, it would, I don't know. We'll see. I totally hear you. And yeah, we get so many great submissions every year. And it's just the way that we're formatted now.
Did you used to have a blog, did you not? Or
We did have a blog, and well, I'm not gonna, the old board, not this board, convinced me to take it down. And I do think that we need something out like that little, even if it's not a full, our features are generally 2,000 to like 10,000 words. It's a lot of words. But one of the things that I do think our site might be missing is like a news area or just somewhere to mention something. But yeah, when we redid our site and it went from topicalcream.info to topicalcream.org, yeah, we lost a lot of stuff. And the blog and the news was just one of them, one of the things.
well,
But maybe we
maybe the
can
new
build it
social
back again.
environment will be the prompt for
I
bringing
know we
back
need
old
that.
strands of programming.
Yeah, or just a way to mention something else, like we need that. We need a good programmer. So if anybody knows a good programmer, send them to me.
Thank you so, so much. Thank you, Lyndsy and Stacy. Thank
Thank you.
you from Topical Cream for their support in preparing for today's event. We'd also like to thank the Terra Foundation for American Art and Tiger Foundation for sponsoring our NSE program and making these daily conversations possible, and for their support of our growing archive, which you can view on the Rails YouTube channel. The Rail has been free and independent for 25 years. A donation directly supports our writers, production staff, and operations. Support our work through the link in the chat. And if you're available tomorrow, join us at 1 p.m. for a conversation with Mbera Wellman and Ksenia M. Soboleva on the event of 1,000 Emotions at Company. And now, as is Rail tradition, you can turn on your microphone and say hello and goodbye as you leave.
Thank you so much for having us. And
Thank
Thank you.
you
That was
so much,
fun.
Lyndsy and Stacy.
I hope I explained everything the right,
You
in a
were
way that
amazing.
doesn't
It was
make
amazing. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
Thank you so much.
Bye, everybody. Take
Thank
care.
you. Bye-bye.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Bye,